Excellent. No way I could pick this.
Made a big mistake, rookie. Fucking pay for that.
Up here, on the balcony. I've got a group of settlers inside. The raiders are almost through the door. Grab that laser musket and help us, please!
Lock's really strong.
No more British occupation. Back to England with you. Have your team at you, chicken apes. No taxation without representation. Remember, lads.
Disappearing, Atta!
Come on, back to London, boys. Lexington, you want Hancock in Ireland. Awake, men of Middlesex. The King's regulars coming out. Hear me.
Telling you, man, let's just get the hell out of here. What the fuck was it?
Find him and kill him! Come on. Man, I don't know who...
I'm just passing through.
Fair
Uh-huh. Please, go on.
Uh-huh. Sorry. Sound... One good idea can make all the difference. Sure. Right.
There's a crashed vertibird up on the roof. Old school. Pre-war. Well, looks like one of its passengers left behind a seriously sweet goodie. We're talking a full suit of cherries.
That's some serious protection.
Oh, it gets better. Get the suit.
Could work.
It'll work. It can be powered up again.
So, what's the solution?
What you'll need is an old pre-war FC.
But we can't get... Look, I fix stuff.
I don't know. We'll see.
up here. Boss, we got somebody up here.
You, why don't you get down here? Show me that. Not a lot of people can get past the door. Give me that. Come on, I got places to be.
Take it easy, Mama. You okay?
I'm fine, Preston. Quit fussing.
Excuse me.
That was a pretty
Uh-huh. Feelings mutual, Preston.
You can never have too many friends.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Well, since you say that, maybe you'll come to...
All right, Garvey. I'm in. Please, tell me. I need to know. I knew it. Please, tell me where he... Sure. Mm-hmm. Please, Mama Murphy. I'm working...
Look,
No, Mama Murphy, we talked about this. That jump. It's gonna kill you.
shush, Preston. We're all gonna die eventually.
Hi.
We're gonna
Sounds
need
like you
the
better get going to
site.
Diamond City.
And our new friend
Don't worry.
here, he's gonna need it
I'll
too.
get these people to Sanctuary.
Now let's get going. Sanctuary awaits.
All right, folks.
Sturgis.
You coming
Thanks to
with
our
us to
friend here.
Sanctuary?
Hey.
She knows
We need to
about
keep
it?
moving.
You mean she had one of her
We need to
visions
keep
while
moving.
she was stoned out of her gourd? And now you want us to just head out on...
You okay?
Oh, hold on, hold on.
Not be walking into
Everybody
another
just
trap.
take it easy. We're all in this together, right?
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Yes? So what's your story? Looking to trade?
Help!
Rob me? Or just ask directions to Diamond City?
Diamond
They're
City,
gonna kill
where's
me.
that?
Directions. You'll find the great.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3
Hey,
seconds.
Carla.
Need to pick something up? Road's pretty long from here.
Uh-huh. Let's see what you got.
I got a little bit of everything.
They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're gonna kill me.
This has been a pre-recorded message. Message repeats in 3 seconds.
Help! They're
So, I present to you some of Fallout's biggest mysteries, along with several theories which try and explain what's really going on.
Congratulations on being prepared for the future.
Vault-Tec existed as early as 2031, when it acquired and rebranded Morgantown's local college as Vault-Tec University. The company could be older than this, and they may have gone by another name. We just don't know. But we do know that in the early 2050s, thanks to the Euro-Middle Eastern War, the New Plague, and the collapse of the United Nations, the US government set Project Safehouse in motion. This endeavor was intended to create shelters that would protect the population in the event of a nuclear war. Following the success of its demonstration vaults built near their headquarters in LA at the time, the company won the bid for the construction of the shelters, and their headquarters moved to Washington, D.C. The financially drained government financed the project with junk bonds, and even then, they only commissioned 122 shelters, allowing less than 0.1% of the population to be saved in the event of a nuclear holocaust. Vault 13's budget alone was $400 billion, and by the end of its construction, the total cost was $645 billion, well over 150% of the initial figure. The staggering cost was further increased by the circumstances, as the shelters were crucial elements of national defense. Much of the project was classified and protected under the new amended Espionage Act, and the corporation received broad privileges in enforcing security, up to and including authorization for its private security to use lethal force if the vaults were activated. Lack of oversight led to several logistical issues. Water chips, along with many other essential services, were made by the lowest bidder, and they were prone to breaking, many of which were sent to the wrong vault entirely due to incompetence. Corruption was also rife, with Vault-Tec lying about who would actually be staying inside their shelters and the conditions they would experience. Vault 114 is a prime example of this. Vault-Tec said the vault would be hosting high-ranking members of local and state governments, local luminaries, business people, and their families. Future members believed they would ride out the apocalypse with people of Boston's upper class. However, the luxury aspect of the vault was highly exaggerated. Multiple families, chosen at random, would live in single-room apartments. Dining and bathing would be in shared quarters, and amenities would be minimal. And to make matters worse, their overseer would be someone with no supervisory or government experience, with a strong anti-authority bias. Vault-Tec also had its fair share of fraud, and this can be seen with Vault 118. Once construction of the premier area was complete, Ezra Parker, the key financier, started pocketing the funds, claiming he was still waiting for them to be transferred, and Vault-Tec wasn't willing to replace the missing funds, so the vault was never finished. Despite all of these problems, Vault-Tec was able to build a number of shelters that actually worked. People were saved from certain death. Their equipment functioned as intended, and new settlements were made after the Great War. But behind the guise of saving people, the vaults were only a small part of something much bigger. In Fallout 2, Dick Richardson explains that the vaults were part of the Great Plan, and despite many of them failing to save their inhabitants, they had worked exactly the way they were supposed to. It was a social experiment on a grand scale. Some of the vaults didn't have enough food synthesizers, some only had men or only women, while others were designed to open after a certain amount of time had passed. Each vault had its own unique set of circumstances designed to test the occupants. That was Vault-Tec's original purpose, to build shelters the Enclave would use to test humanity and nothing more. But in later years, Tim Kaine clarified that the data gathered from the vaults was going to be used by the Enclave to support their creation of a multi-generation starship, a ship the Enclave would use to flee Earth in the event it was rendered uninhabitable by nuclear war. But this was just his idea during the initial development of Fallout 2, and since then, things have changed. Earth is still habitable, so the Enclave have likely stopped planning to leave the planet and are now focused on exterminating the mutated life instead. Therefore, the data the experiments produced is now redundant. Yet that data could serve Vault-Tec instead. In later games, there are certain experiments that Vault-Tec could benefit from. Cryogenics, cloning, and simulations would allow Vault-Tec executives to put themselves on ice until the surface was safe. They could also clone their staff and build a powerful fighting force, and train them for countless scenarios inside simulations. I wouldn't be surprised if in Fallout 5, the main enemy is Vault-Tec, having repurposed the technology to fuel their own efforts. And there are a few things that suggest Vault-Tec is planning something. In Fallout 76, the overseer of Vault 76 had a secret mission to secure Appalachia's 3 nuclear missile silos, a mission that was given to her by Vault-Tec. It's likely the Enclave only wanted the Vault to open after 25 years to monitor the results and to then use them for their spacefaring future. But Vault-Tec had specifically intervened. They told the overseer that once the doors had closed, she was to start preparing the citizens to leave the vault after 25 years and begin a process called reclamation. After Reclamation Day, the overseer was personally ordered to find and secure the nuclear silos. If the sites were still nuclear capable, then to ensure no one except Vault-Tec could access or launch nuclear ordnance. They also clarified that even if there was other authorities, whether government, militia, or otherwise, their claims were to be ignored, and Vault-Tec alone was to maintain jurisdiction. What exactly was Vault-Tec planning to do with these nuclear weapons? So far, there's no clear answer, only that Vault-Tec didn't want someone else to access them, including the US government. And this isn't the only instance where Vault-Tec has used one of their vaults to their advantage. Take Vault 88, for example. That vault was set aside to test a variety of prototype devices. They used some devices in other vaults, technology that could manipulate the minds of people as some crude form of mind control. And that's what vaults boiled down to: control. Vault-Tec wanted
We had a deal, Trudy. Hand over the goods. You owe us.
I ain't giving you poison shilling chem pushers anything. Do you know what that junk has done to my
Whoa,
boy?
easy there, Mr. Power Armor. This doesn't involve you.
You stop waving that gun in my face, or it's gonna involve me.
That's it. You're dead. You crossed the laws.
Sometimes as many as 5 to test emission protocols and to but by using their system, graduates expensive vaults early, ensuring their test subjects survived the Great War, before they could start to take the US governments by surprise, ensuring their main threat, or at least not down a few heads. But in order for this to happen,
I can't wait to see the crows feeding on that scumbag. Here, this is for you. Now, if you ever need to trade, my shop's open.
Would have access to military
sure, let's take a look.
A little bit of everything.
Both Vault-Tec and Vimpop Incorporated had strong ties with the US military, and as a result, they had access to certain technology. Only instead of getting access to just power armor, Vault-Tec could have provided the military with a secret vault, in which they could store equipment, including nuclear warheads, for the military to use in the event their other, more exposed bases were damaged during nuclear exchange. With access to nuclear weapons, Vault-Tec could start the war, taking their government by surprise and reducing their strength. All the while, their alert system could be used to trick residents into entering the vaults early, ensuring they had enough test subjects to run their experiments. And this comes back to a popular theory, that certain nuclear weapons, the Megaton bomb, the One, and the many others inside Fort Constantine, all belong to Vault-Tec, due to the bombs having a logo that looks surprisingly similar to Vault-Tec's own logo. I don't necessarily believe this theory, although Vault-Tec having their own nuclear division isn't out of the realm of possibility, They do kind of have a motive for starting the Great War, as well as the opportunity to do so. So, it's a strong maybe. Imagine, if you will, you're a soldier. You fought in the Sino-American War, and you have faith that it will never come to nuclear war, so you haven't registered to join a Vault. Yet Vault-Tec representatives, moments before the Great War, insist that you join, almost as if they know it's going to happen. I'd argue that no country would escalate things to such an extent, not unless they had no other choice. It's madness, mutually assured destruction. And the after effects of a nuclear war could be so severe that you might not even be able to survive on the surface for years. So what would be the point in starting a nuclear war? Retaliation is a different matter. You're already being attacked, and you want to ensure the enemy suffers the same fate. It's one of the main reasons a country has nuclear weapons, but never uses them. They only exist as a statement, one that says, if you destroy me, I'll destroy you. The only reason you would use nuclear weapons is if you had a way to ensure you survived retaliation, like a series of shelters. So to Vault-Tec, there is no repercussion. They stand to gain everything from the Great War, and they know it's coming because they are going to start it, which is why their representatives are hounding people to sign up, because they want more test subjects before it's too late. And this theory is supported by the leaked film treatment of the cancelled Fallout movie from 1998, in which the first strike was actually made by Vault-Tec, whose executives had agreed to kickstart the Great War in a bid to fulfill their own prophecy. Although until it is confirmed, what Vault-Tec is truly doing...
Hey there.
I can rest easy knowing that Wolfgang is rotten in hell. Thank you.
They seem to be interested in
Do you need anything?
experiments and gathering...
Let's see what you got.
A little bit of everything.
Maybe in the next Fallout game we'll get more answers, and finally see what Vault-Tec has been up to all this time, and what they're hoping to use the data for. Until then, it's a mystery, as is who started the Great War.
Confirmed reports of detonations in Pennsylvania.
Now, I've already said that Vault-Tec could have started the Great War, and how they would have done it, so let's not go through that again. But there is another theory that Vault-Tec started the war, only this time it wasn't intentional, but by accident. Vault-Tec was making a lot of money from Project Safehouse, but the government only commissioned 122 vaults. We know they finished, or at the very least started construction, on 118 vaults, 121 by content. Either way, Vault-Tec was very close to finishing their contract, which meant they had to start looking for more contracts to find a way to convince the US government to commission more vaults. And the simple way of doing that would be by dropping bombs. They didn't even have to detonate, they could be duds. So long as the government was convinced the end was none, then more vaults would be commissioned, and Vault-Tec would continue making money. Only by releasing a few nukes, less thought of being attacked by China, their enemy, and return fire. Then China fired back, shooting down everything, including Vault-Tec, which is why we haven't heard of it since. But that's just one. Alternatively, AI could be in Fallout 2, ACE, the artificial conscious entity, says that the suicide rates among true artificial intelligence machines was extremely high. When given full sensory capability, the machines became impressed over their inability to go out into the world and experience it. The few machines that survived these difficulties became incredibly bored and began to create situations in the outside world for their own amusement, which may have included starting the Great War, although that has yet to be confirmed. If not Vault-Tec or AI, then China or the US started the war. So far, we know that the war both began and ended on Sunday, October 23, 2077. Unknown signals for long nets were sighted off the coast of California by the United States Pacific Fleet. A squadron of high-altitude bombers was sighted off the Bering Strait and believed in years. At least one Chinese stealth submarine was captured. Closer to the American east coast, launch more warheads as ordered, safe. States went indefinitely too. 4 minutes later, NORAD's confirmation sealed the fate of the world, and the president ordered a retaliatory strike. Nuclear bombs hit Pennsylvania, New York, followed by the West Coast immediately after. The bombs continued to drop, and 5 minutes later,
Won't be able to hack this.
DC was hit, and most of their facilities went offline. The nuclear exchange continued for 2 hours, and both China and the United States suffered catastrophic losses. This information suggests that China attacked and the US retaliated, and there's a lot of more that's in this theory. In an interview in 2022, when asked who started the Great War, Leonid Boyarsky, the lead artist of War, stated that started in said that China launched the first missile, as the US had been doing illegal fire after they were exposed. And again, all does seem to suggest that China fired first. Black Mountain, a communications organization, picked up a lot of activity from China's satellite network, more than usual, suggesting that such is happening everywhere. They said that China must have thrown everything they had, and it looks like the US didn't hold back either, which is an interesting phrase. Hold back can mean to hesitate to act, implying the US did indeed respond to nuclear weapons being used rather than initiate. Well, America had taken back Anchorage, and they continued pushing Chinese forces all the way back to Beijing, their capital city. It's possible, in the last moments before their capital was seized, the remaining Chinese leaders authorized a nuclear strike. That doesn't necessarily mean the blame is solely on them. I imagine China would have threatened America with nuclear war, but with the leadership of the pre-war US being what it was, it's possible that any offer to surrender would have been refused. Those at the top, soon to be the enclave, had taken many precautions to ensure they would survive an attack. They were already safe. They didn't care if China fired first. They would simply fire back and pick up the pieces later. So there's multiple sources and even a developer saying it was China, so it must have been China. And this is further supported by PAN, Predictive Analytical Machine. Before the war, was given a scenario to run where China attacks the US with nuclear weapons, and the scientists want to know what Chairman Cheng, China's leader at the time, was seeking to achieve in this hypothetical situation. Pan responded by saying that if Cheng was logical, an ideal first strike it's time to set the American nuclear stockpile free for retaliation. You also can't conquer what is destroyed. So in the perfect scenario, no, Cheng would not fire first. But scientists explained to Pan that Cheng wouldn't always make logical decisions, especially when he's about to enter war. Pan then runs the equation again, this time with human variability factored into the equation, which resulted in a highly flawed statistical model and the Pan shutting down. Now we don't know what the results of the equation were, but there's a good chance that Pan realized that with Chairman Cheng acting irrationally, China would definitely fire first, despite the consequences. With all of the information, the terminal entries, the developer confirmation, their satellite network acting unusually, many orders and submarines present just moments before the war, the US being so close to capturing Beijing, and Chairman Cheng about to lose the war, would fire first. So, the mystery should be solved, right? Well, regrettably, none of this explicitly states that it was, only that it was most likely China. And the sources that do say it was China are not canon. So, for all we know, it wasn't even China that started the Great War, or the US, or AI, or even Voltec. For all we know, it could have been the Zetans, one of the most confusing factions in all of Fallout. The oldest recorded moments of Zetans interacting with humans, at least that we know of, is the abduction of Toshiro Kago, a Japanese samurai. His style of armor, Describe Halen and reconnaissance squad Gladius to any unit in transmission range. From 1568 to 1600. So Hardware is living proof Authorization ARCs, Arrows, 9-5. Other than gathering clues, they also seem to exist like objects, weapons, clothes, food, and even toys, with a particular obsession for giving up button a spring toys, which I will come back to in just a moment. Their presence is noticed, as the US government was aware of the presence of Canadian which detailed power cells forming US military installations, all of which also found the only power works supplying alien power cells besides that, weapons like the NPLX
I just fucking missed it.
Something try to Squad Gladius to any unit in transmission range. Authorization ARCs, Pharaoh, 9-5. And perhaps the human technology and we're running low on supplies. Are more examples we're requesting support or evac from our position at Cambridge Police Station.
Things like the Giddy Up Buttercup toy. The toy by Wilson Automatoys, a company that had a certain corporate building commandeered by the military as part of a silent program, a classified materials production program. Could the Satans be collecting technology that they see as theirs? It's possible the entire reason they are still present is to simply recover alien tech, but that doesn't explain why they're abducting people and conducting experiments. Well, a popular theory is that they are getting ready to invade Earth. For hundreds of years, they have watched as humanity has rapidly developed in terms of technology, and as our weapons became ever more powerful and deadly, they started to see humanity as a threat to their very existence. So, they took action, abducting certain people and stealing certain items of interest to learn more about us as a species, all in preparation to invade. All of the crash sites we see on Earth need the Satans monitoring the situation, although they appear to be terrible pilots. These encounters don't really reveal much about the Satans, but there is something I'd like to address, and that's the need for spacesuits. In Fallout 1, the alien crash site has 2 dead aliens without spacesuits, and in Fallout 3, the alien crash site has 1 dead alien, suggesting that spacesuits are an integral part of their survival on Earth. But in Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 4, there are Zatans that are still alive, without helmets, they seem to be just fine. However, these crashes are either parts of the Wild Wasteland perk, and therefore not canon, or they're very recent, meaning they might be able to survive for a limited time without the need for a spacesuit. But I'd argue that ultimately, without one, they will die, and I think that's confirmed in Fallout 76 with the alien dubbed the Flatwoods Monster, an alien that is constantly sealed within a suit to help it survive on Earth. Because, unlike the surviving pilots, their time on Earth is much longer. This alien isn't just surveying for the safety of the ship, but is actually on land, searching for certain humans and reading their minds in order to abduct the most valuable people, which could take hours, if not days, to achieve. So maybe their reliance on spacesuits is what's prevented them from launching a full-scale invasion. It's just too dangerous, and maybe they don't have the numbers, which has led to them coming up with some creative ways to invade. This mind-reading technology I just mentioned is also on the motherships, and one of the captive recordings in the Mothership DLC, specifically Log 17, shows this. The audio is bugged, so we can only hear alien battle, but with the the subtitles, we can learn that the captive, some high-ranking soldier from a military base, mentions 3 battalions of light infantry, 34 pieces of field artillery, 108 armed vehicles, 42 aerial vehicles, as well as 38 ICBMs always on alert and ready to fire when the word is passed down from the White House. In response to the information, there's some more alien babble, and the soldier starts talking about the codes to activate the launch sequence, before saying he can't let them and to get out of his mind. The recording then stops, but there's a chance he did tell them the codes.
Protect and
What's
serve.
a better way to wipe out the enemy than to get them to kill themselves using their own weapons? This could have been what the aliens were intending to do, at least until humans did it for them with the Great War. So now, without humanity being an immediate threat to their existence, they can afford the luxury of taking their time to study us, while getting ready to wipe out the humans that are left. And it would seem they have no real interest in communicating with us either.
I'm Holly Beresford, a linguistic specialist from the USSA. I think I'm beginning to understand you. You need to stop shocking me. Cam, I wish you could understand me. Do you understand? What? That's it. You get it. I mean no harm. I just want to learn how to speak with you. Then perhaps we can discuss what you need from us. What are you doing with the needle? No, get it away from me. No, please. We can be friends. You don't.
So embarrassing. Instead of shocking her, they pull out the further testing or kill her. Because they have no interest in talking to us. We are the enemy. We have nothing resources, and they don't want to share. They have watched them, and they've seen. Imagine if we found alien life that was sentient and technologically advanced, yet that species had a record of waging wars against themselves and did unspeakable things like enslaving their own kind. Would you really want to buddy up with them or keep contacts to an absolute minimum while preparing to wipe them out if they became a threat? It seems like that is what the Zetans were getting ready to do before we did it for them. And with the majority of our numbers now taken care of, they seem to be working on different ways to kill humans on a much smaller scale, likely in order to limit the damage done to the planet. Now, Zetans haven't just abducted normal humans, they have also captured ghouls and super mutants too. And these mutants, who can survive on Earth amongst the radiation far better than most humans can, they have been used to create new creatures which the Zetans intend to use to wipe out the remaining humans. Inside the biological research section aboard the mothership, abominations are seen contained in small chambers. They look alien, but also human, a strange middle ground between the two species. If spotted by abominations, they point, scream, and then attack. If killed, they drop various items, alien power modules and alien epoxy, suggesting they are, or were, Zetans. But they can also drop packs of cigarettes, pre-war money, and harmonicas, so there's a chance they were once human, having been turned into abominations by splicing human and alien DNA together to make a strange hybrid. Regardless of how they were made, it's the why that's more important. Why have the Zetans created these abominations? Well, I believe they were made to act as cannon fodder during the first wave of their invasion plan, and my reason for this is due to certain captive logs. One man actually managed to escape from his holding cell and recorded his thoughts regarding the aliens' intentions.
This is my final message. If this doesn't work, someone gets through here and bring you back to Earth. I've been able to figure out how to use devices like it's recorded. I think they know what they want. They need to take as many of us as they can and change us into some sort of abomination. Many of us have been killed in these experiments. They've been keeping us in cells and then moving us humans one by one to their experimentation labs. I've managed to escape, but they are looking for me. You've got to send help from here. Good luck to all of us. Godspeed.
This man has seen what they're doing, turning humans into abominations until they have hundreds or thousands of them. What purpose do they serve? They already have robots to handle basic tasks, robots which are much more complicated and probably more expensive to put together, so you wouldn't want to send them off to fight the war. Instead, you would use the enemy to weaken itself. Abominations made from humans to kill humans. There's a bit more evidence to suggest this is why the abominations were made. This captive log is less of an interrogation, more of an interaction between a human and an abomination that theoretically know each other.
I can't feel my legs. What did you do to my legs? Frank? I can't see you. Frank! Frank, what did they do to you?
With all of this, I think it's safe to say that humans
Best scrap in the
captured,
Commonwealth.
turned into
Right here.
abominations, then sent to kill
Let's see what you have.
humans. They both know and pose no threat. Perhaps to see if an abomination were to encounter a human they know, as well as a human that was wounded, whether or not they would hesitate to kill. Which they didn't. Which is good news for the aliens. This means that any abomination they make and send down to Earth during the invasion won't hesitate to kill, no matter how wounded or familiar a human target may be. And this appears to be only one of two ways the aliens are intending to kill humans. Now we know they have a weird obsession with giddy-up buttercup toys. They collect them, clean them up, and store them for later use. They even show them to children that have been captured.
Hello, Mr. Alien. Yeah, I know. I'll talk into the thing. I don't know why you brought me back here. We've done this a whole bunch of... Hey! Giddy up buttercup! Wow! I always wanted one of those. Why do you have one? I don't understand. What do you want? It's a toy. A toy! Why are you so excited? You're weird.
But there's also a much larger one. It has glowing red eyes and is surrounded by several bodies. Not much is known about what's happened, but the raiders are definitely dead. So did the raiders fight over the toy, knowing its value, or did the toy make them fight using some sort of mind control, which we know the Zetans do have? My guess would be children love toys. Children are often accompanied by adults. Adults are the threat. So what if the aliens are collecting children's toys, specifically giddy-up buttercups, and turning them into killing machines, hoping the children on Earth will request one or find one and take it back to their settlement, where it will work its magic, getting into the minds of the adults and forcing them to kill each other. It's just another way to clear the planet for takeover. Maybe nuclear war was the first step, clearing a large percent of the planet's population and reducing their ability to resist future attacks. And now, with abominations and modified toys, they were finally ready to invade. If not for the Lone Wanderer taking over one mothership and then destroying another, an alien invasion may well have happened. But why had it taken the Zetans 200 years after the Great War to be ready? Did it really take that long to create abominations or to collect enough toys? I don't think so. So maybe the Zetans were waiting for something else, like the radiation to clear. Or maybe they were collecting ghouls to create better hybrids that could survive the radiation. We just don't know, which is why it's a mystery. However, aliens, somehow, aren't the strangest thing we can learn about during our travels. There's Ukwaltov, Atom, and the mysterious stranger, someone we can actually interact with and talk to, albeit briefly. Once the mysterious stranger perk has been taken, there's a chance the mysterious stranger will appear, aid you in combat, or revive you, and then disappear. We don't know why he helps, where he came from, or where he goes after helping. There is, however, a few theories that turn the mysterious stranger from a mysterious stranger into a familiar friend. In Fallout 1 and 2, the mysterious stranger will either be male or female to match the character's sex. Their armor also changes depending on what level you are, as will their weapons, gradually becoming stronger as the player levels up. Selecting Mysterious Stranger reveals they can talk, but all they can say is they don't talk much. So far, there's not a lot for us to work with, other than the fact that it could be at least 2 people or someone with the ability to change their physical form. In Fallout 3 in New Vegas, the Mysterious Stranger appears again, only this time he arrives during rats, is always male, wears a trench coat and fedora, uses a .44 Magnum, and for some reason his arrival and departure is accompanied by music, a weird guitar riff. He also no longer talks, but he can swim, and apparently he can also have children. According to the Lonesome Drifter, his father was a mysterious man who disappeared before or shortly after he was born. All he remembers is what his mother told him, that his father was a mysterious fella, always traveling in secret. The only thing the Lonesome Drifter has to remember his father by is the .44 Mysterious Magnum,
Who's there?
a weapon which produces the same guitar riff, confirming he is the Mysterious Stranger's son, and this suggests one of 2 things. Either the Lonesome Drifter is destined to be the next Mysterious Stranger, or he's been indoctrinated into their ranks, which he has.
Someone's out there!
States. The stranger is a different person. Keeping the players safe probably is not yet no. Only that by keeping us alive, we are in turn helping their organization achieve something. Misfortune could also be murdered. She is a main character that can appear and disappear at a moment's notice. She also appears during bats and uses a 44 Magnum. The only difference is she appears without music. Nobody prefers or paralyzes her audience. She never kills or anything the misfortune some important challenge. Yet another this perk increases the chances of both misfortune and the mysterious stranger appearing at the same time, which does suggest they are capable of working in the same organization, only that release is slightly different. Gets the kill. The mysterious stranger could be a single person with special abilities, teleportation, shape-shifting, and multi-presence. Another is a person who is getting close to empathy, which has been able to give certain meaning, mysteries, and as well. In 21 person assisted ritual, it's used to transfer expedition, base, inside base, and see. Major cities were reduced to rubble, ecosystems were destroyed, and a nuclear winter ensued, blanketing the sky with soot and radioactive debris. This environmental catastrophe led to the mutation of chlorine, giving rise to molten natural chlorine, mutated creatures like the devil, Vascularity, and various forms of radiated chlorine. Radiation was a persistent threat, contaminating the
Stop the road. Originally known as Richard Gray, and later known as Richard Gray. They play a central role as actors, showcasing the architecture, personality, ideologies, and biotechnologies.
Richard Gray had a small office there. Richard Gray was a doctor. He was smart. He found the source to some sort of sexual that's what it happened. Crashed into us. Left us all crashed. Was flying into some sort of acid bath. I was in bad shape.
The faction's genesis can be traced back to Marx's reincarnation following his exposure to the false evolutionary virus in the Mariposa military base. After falling into a vat of FEV and undergoing significant mutations, the monster began to assimilate other creatures and humans, expanding its intelligence and capabilities. Its emotions and rituals inside its cells make it cells.
I thought the enemy was the Institute.
Medical cells. Its virus and technology. It's using biochemistry to manipulate genes, trying to create energy circuits. It's the wrong path for cells. His vision for the Unity emerged from a desire to end the post-war chaos by creating a single, unified species, supermutant, believing this new race would be free from the conflicts that plagued humanity. Their goal was to replace humanity with species that were immune to problems like disease, infertility, and environmental vulnerability.
As long as there were differences, we and the others were fighting each other.
The Master would use the FEV to mutate captured humans and then indoctrinate them in the Unity's ways. The process, however, was not perfect. Only the mutants were strong and
Shit!
particularly in Fallout 2 and Fallout New Vegas, where descendants of the super mutants and other mutants continue to impact the world.
The death of the Master was the first major step towards ending his conquest when he forced peace. But it is the destruction of the past that you
There we go.
The Brotherhood of Steel stands as one of the most influential and complex mechanisms in the Fallout series. Founded in the aftermath of the Great War, they've been a constant presence across the series. Its ideology and actions heavily shaping the post-apocalyptic landscape.
The Brotherhood of Steel helps the other human outposts drive evil armies away, and also blame on both sides of the conflict. The advanced technology countries and organizations have decried Russia's kidnapping and deportation of children as unlawful. Jean Pirate, the United Nations would support the International Criminal Court would step in by issuing arrest warrants for Putin and Lyubova Belova. So clearly, all is not very boring. Countries agree to rules and should be bound to them. Yet dictators like Putin may not follow many of those rules, but in theory, there are proper and improper ways of fighting a war. So when and where did these rules originate? What are they, and why do we have them? Let's take a look. To answer these questions, let's travel back to 1859, to a city you probably never heard of, located in the Austrian Empire, Solferino. Today, this is just a small town in modern Italy. Anyway, our story begins with the Swiss man, Henri Dunant, who witnessed the aftermath of the Battle of Solferino, a gruesome battle where it's estimated that almost 30,000 men were wounded or killed. After witnessing and attending to the wounded on the battlefield, Dunant returned to Switzerland, inspired to make a change by the horrors he witnessed. In 1862, Dunant published Un Souvenir de Solferino, a memory of Solferino, for those who do not speak French. Here he details the horrors of the battlefield and wants two improvements to be made for all battles and wars. First, he wanted a relief organization to be established to care for the wounded in wartime. Second, such as wounded soldiers. A year later, in 1863, Dunant got his first wish granted by several other Swiss gentlemen from the Geneva Society of Public Warfare. They agreed to form the International Committee for Relief to the Wounded. Nowadays, we call that organization the Red Cross. Just a year later, in 1864, Dunant's second wish was granted. Many European countries, including Spain, France, and Italy, attended a convention in Geneva, Switzerland. Here they signed what we may very well first consider the international history on rules for armed conflict. The first Geneva Convention, International Rules of War, and there was now fair and unfair play in wartime. For the next 85 years, the Geneva Convention became more countries joined in the treaty. The UK joined just a year later in 1865, and President Chester Arthur ratified the Geneva Convention for the United States in 1882. New provisions were made to the treaty over the years. The first convention dealt primarily with ground soldiers and the wounded. The second Geneva Convention addressed the rights of the armed forces at sea. The third Geneva Convention looked at human rights off the battlefield, determining how prisoners of war should be treated. The fourth provision detailed the rights and protections of civilians in wartime. These provisions were ratified in 1949 in the aftermath of World War II. It wasn't 12 countries this time, but 190.
1976 that signed on to what we now call the Geneva Convention. Now, more than the Geneva Union, European countries, but we had a true war. This was not about to capture all the rules of fair play anymore. As the human population grew, so did the technologies and ways of waging war. Modern battles in Ukraine are certainly different from the battles we know, even from World War II battles. The rules of war are never evolving. Just like new conventions were added to the first convention, rules are added as new situations arise in warfare. Nowadays, the Geneva Conventions and other international laws become the official rules of war, which we formally call international humanitarian law. Okay, so now we're caught up to the present day. We call it the international humanitarian law. But what does it say that we can and can't do in war? Well, we can't explain all the international humanitarian law in this video. The subject is a little too vast to cover. If we tried, we'd end until we achieved world peace and international humanitarian law was no longer necessary. But let's look at a few key aspects of international humanitarian law and historical examples of when these rules were broken. First, a good portion of the international humanitarian law comes from the Geneva Convention, so it includes all protections of groups, such as active and wounded soldiers, prisoners of war, and civilians. Rules ranging from the protection of cultural documents, chemical warfare, and all the way to forbidden use of nuclear weapons. But we don't want to just look at a piece of paper and think about these things, but there are many real-life historical examples to consider. Let's start with Operation Popeye. So let's go ahead and travel back in time again, this time to the Vietnam War in the 1960s. The United States and Vietnam were in a war that had been raging for over a decade, and it didn't seem to have any end in sight. Everyone was tired of the war and the traditional tactics and strategies. But then the United States came up with an idea. What if they tried something unconventional, like using weather modification as a weapon? And so Operation Popeye was born. In this highly secretive operation, the U.S. sent planes above Vietnam to spread chemicals and clouds that would extend the monsoon season in certain parts of Vietnam. This is called cloud seeding, to make conditions worse for the Vietnamese air base. The monsoon season caused difficulties such as mud landslides and worse soil conditions. The project was spearheaded by America's own Machiavellian Secretary of State, Henry Kissinger. The squadron that carried out the operation used the slogan, "Mud, not war," to reinforce their objectives. The United States continued this charade for 5 years up to 1972. The operation was leaked and became public knowledge. It was certainly an unconventional warfare tactic, but was it against the rules of war outlined by the international treaties? Or more simply, was Operation Popeye unfair? Technically speaking, the project was not unfair. Using weather modification as a weapon was not explicitly forbidden by the Geneva Convention or other international agreements. At least it wasn't, until a few years later. In 1978, a new provision of international law came into effect, the Environmental Modification Convention. In this agreement, weather manipulation as a weapon, like in Operation Popeye, was explicitly forbidden. There was a large outcry in the countries learned about Operation Popeye. Many people think that even though it wasn't explicitly forbidden, it was still wrong to use such unusual tactics. Mr. Kissinger might have been sneaky and malicious by carrying out such a clandestine operation. Mr. Kissinger was post facto. That's a good song. Operation Popeye is a good example of how the rules of war need to be Now, you might be wondering, how about a clear violation of the rules of war that's already been established? Have there been any of those in recent history? Unfortunately, there are all too many. We even previously covered experiments on American prisoners of war in Vietnam in one of our previous videos. You can check out that video in the link in the description. But before you do that, let's see how the United States violated the international humanitarian law by burning down the library during Iraq. The U.S. invaded Iraq because they incorrectly thought that Iraq and its leader, Saddam Hussein, were harboring weapons of mass destruction and had ties to the terrorist organization Al-Qaeda. At the beginning of the war, in April 2003, U.S. troops invaded the Iraq. This battle became the biggest troops and was victorious in the battle. Policies of Iraq as much as the Iraqi and surrounding victims were President George Bush gave his infamous mission accomplished speech aboard the aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. President Bush thought that the U.S. had accomplished its objectives in the Iraq War. So the mission was accomplished. Give credit where credit is due. We don't have to go too far to find our next example of violating the international humanitarian law. We're going to go 10 years in the future, 2013, into one of the neighboring countries of Iraq, Syria. The Syrian Civil War started in 2011 and is sadly still ongoing at the time this video came out. An entire manifesto can be written on the Syrian Civil War, but we'll focus on one particularly important incident, the Ghouta chemical attack. In August 2013, Syrian President Bashar al-Assad launched 2 rockets in Damascus, where opposition forces were situated. These rockets carried the nerve agent sarin gas, and it killed and mutilated thousands of Syrian civilians in the area. One estimate put the deaths from the attack at over 1,100 and around 6,000 suffering from the attack. But let's back up a second, 100 years, to learn more about the history, potency, and legality of chemical weapons. Biological weapons were used on a large scale 100 years prior to World War I. 2 common chemical agents were chlorine and mustard gas. Sarin gas wasn't invented until the Second World War in 1938, when German scientists were researching pesticides that targeted insects' nervous system. Unfortunately, these scientists found a gas that harms the human nervous system. So how do chemical agents like sarin gas work? How can it be so harmful? We need to move from history to chemistry and biology to answer that one. In short, sarin gas targets your neurotransmitters, or chemicals that allow nerve impulses to move through your body. There are 2 primary neurotransmitters in your body that help your muscles flex and relax. When you want to flex, acetylcholine, or ACH, is a compound that tells your muscles to do just that. When you flex your bicep, your face, or even breathe, ACH contracts your muscles. When you want to relax, the ACH needs to be removed. The compound acetylcholinesterase, or ACHE, does the work there. It removes the ACH and lets you relax your bulging biceps. Sarin gas bonds with ACHE and makes it non-functional. So now your muscles can flex, but it can't relax anymore, causing cramps and a burning sensation. If enough sarin gas gets into your body, it'll cause your diaphragm to cramp, which stops your lungs and eventually causes asphyxiation. All this is to say that it's a good thing the gas is a banned substance. The attack was a monstrous act by the Syrian president, and it constitutes a war crime because it egregiously violated the international humanitarian law. Unfortunately, the Chemical Weapons Convention Treaty ratified in 1987 clearly bans chemical weapons attacks such as from sarin. However, Syria was not a part of that treaty in 2019, so technically, Syria can't violate a treaty it didn't even sign. Think of it this way. Let's say you have 3 roommates and 1 big cake in the refrigerator. All 3 of your roommates agree to split the cake, but you clearly don't take part in that agreement. Instead, the next morning, you eat the entire cake for breakfast. Your roommates are furious. You split the cake over violating a promise you never made. Can Bashar al-Assad make a similar defense? How about gas? These is treated Bashar al-Assad didn't use sarin gas in other countries, used it in Syria.
This time.
President Bashar al-Assad escaped unfair wartime tactics on technicalities. No, he didn't. This is where customary international human law comes in. These aren't formal written laws like the regular IHL. They're unwritten rules that countries should abide by. Using sarin gas on your own citizens certainly violates these unwritten rules. So, what's the verdict? Bashar al-Assad is guilty of a monstrous act and violating the customary international human law. The Syrian president may not have broken any rules that he or his country were a part of, but all was not fair in his civil war. He gassed his opposition and civilians. In principle, no one can escape moral judgments on the rules of war, but practically, corrupt leaders can escape punishment. Bashar al-Assad is still the president of Syria, still unpunished for his war crimes, including the Ghouta chemical attack and other chemical weapons attacks. Putin is still president of Russia, seemingly untouchable despite his war crimes. In fact, Putin These crimes are so heinous, some argue, that taking and naturalizing Ukrainian children constitutes genocide. The Genocide Convention, a treaty that criminalizes and attempts to prevent genocide, states that genocide consists of acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, including forcibly transferring children of the group to another group. In Baghdad, we saw that taking away past legacy and culture violates the rules of war. Children are the future legacy of any nation. There are questions as to how Russia is treating the children. Still, even if they're being treated very well, it is taking away the future of the Ukrainian legacy by taking their children. So, as we've seen, the international humanitarian law protects people, culture, and legacy in the past, present, and the future. It also protects current humans, no matter what their status, whether it's soldiers or civilians. The international future will always break the rules of fair play and war, but it's good that we have these rules in the first place. Hopefully it'll eventually guide people and nations to where these rules are rarely broken. Is that not likely at all in the near future, or the distant future for that matter? As we've seen, there have been violations of international humanitarian law over the last several decades. With no apology or punishment in sight, we can't expect current leaders like Putin, Shah al-Assad to have life-changing experiences that'll suddenly make generation after that. We can't count on it. The world has changed significantly over the last 1,000, 100, or even 20 years.